What is up, everybody? Thank you for joining us at Candid Truth. We're going to talk about the truth, and we're going to get candid with it. This is something that I started looking into this more and more after me and Josh and Aubrey talked about Elon Musk on this show. If you didn't watch that, go back and check out that live from a couple days ago where we looked at Elon Musk. You know, is he somebody that we should look up to? A lot of people in the truther community, they think, oh, he's uncensored Twitter with X and all these things. But when you really dig into who he is and the names of his kids and what that X symbol means and all these hidden things, he doesn't seem like somebody that we can trust. And so I just started really looking at his connection to Trump and how they're uniting and just the things they're talking about. And I want to get into this stuff because it seems like the pieces of the puzzle are just coming together. The dots are being connected, you know, like that conspiracy theory meme where the guy's just got the red string and the pin boards and everything. But you guys tell me if this is a reach or if you see this the same way, because what I believe personally as a Bible believing Christian who's watching prophecy literally unveil before our eyes, I don't believe that we can put our trust in any man. I'm not against any person. I'm not against any political party or whatever. I don't buy into the illusion of any of the illusion of freedom that we supposedly have. I don't believe that our votes are counting. A third party never wins. We live in this pendulum effect where it's always 4 years Republican, 4 years Democrat, and back and forth. And it's because the system is controlled by someone higher than the president. And I believe that is Satan and those who work directly for Satan. This is biblical. The Bible says that Satan is the god of this world. And we know that prophecy is going to happen. Nobody's going to be put in place and thwart this thing from happening. It's already too far in. The ball is already rolling. And if anything, there's a 2 steps forward, 1 step back system. So if there's almost like an uprising or something, then the government might say, okay, we'll give you a little bit more freedom back, but they're putting 2 more laws into action that you never voted on. If you have not subscribed to this channel, click subscribe. If you like this video so far, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. It really helps the algorithm. Thank you so much for the love, guys. We're going to get into this. 2 years ago, this was July 1st, 2022, Elon Musk said that he was honored to meet Pontiff X yesterday. I think that's weird. And anyway, Pontiff X, I don't know. I keep seeing this X everywhere now. Twitter is X. You got Pontiff X, and you got Elon is naming his kids with X and all this stuff. And so when we looked into X on the show we did with Josh from Founded Earth Brothers, we found out that X is really significant in the occult world. When you see the Egyptians doing this thing with their hands, it's all about rebirth into the spirit realm and all this stuff. Death and it's the whole Ouroboros. It's the occult system of death and resurrection. It's the Ouroboros. It's the phoenix out of the ashes. It's this Gnostic belief. It's all the same stuff because there's only 2 sides. Jesus said, if you're not with me, you're against me. And so that's really the whole case of it all. If you're not with Christ, you're against him. And Satan has a tackle box full of different bait. If you're not into witchcraft, he's got New Age. If you're not into that, he's got video games. If you're not into that, he's got politics. He's getting you somehow with all these different gods and idols. So he wasn't the only one that met with the Pope. Trump has also met with the Pope. Every president has met with the Pope. Hitler's met with the Pope. Like every world leader goes to meet the Pope. Why? Why don't we question these things? Why do we just think, oh, it's just it's just PR, politics, or whatever? Who is a Roman leader to us, to America, that we would fly over there, have meetings with him, shake hands, and do all these things? If you read Bible prophecy and really study it line upon line with Daniel and Revelation and put the pieces together, there is no denying that the papacy, the Vatican, is the Antichrist beast system. If that's your first time ever hearing that, if that's just like mind-blowing, then check out a video on this channel called Who is the Beast and What is His Mark? It's about 35 minutes and it'll walk you through all the scriptures because there's prophetic timelines. The statue of Nebuchadnezzar, when he had that dream, the head of gold was Babylon. The chest and arms of silver were Medo-Persia, the two Medes and the Persians together. The belly and thighs of brass was Greece, and those long iron legs represented Rome. Rome was never defeated. The feet are still of partly iron and partly clay, and that's a whole different topic. That's a mingling of church and state, because he is the potter, we are the clay. We as the body of Christ make up the church, right? So there's this corrupt, dirty clay, miry clay, mingled with iron, which is Rome. So the last kingdom before that rock cut without hands smashes that statue, which is Jesus' kingdom. That last kingdom is a Roman church state union system that's a worldwide government. And we haven't gotten there yet, but it's very interesting that we always see these world leaders go to meet with the Pope. And there's other things. Revelation gets deeper into it. It's talking about this harlot, which is a corrupt church system. She's sitting on a beast, which is a kingdom with 7 heads, which, and the Bible says, which are 7 mountains or 7 hills. You Google, what is the city of 7 hills? It's going to say Rome. So if there's a corrupt church sitting on the city of Rome, that's Vatican. And it gets way deep. She's dressed in purple and scarlet. You look up purple scarlet church, all you're going to find is Vatican. And so we know that the first beast of Revelation is the papal system. Now, according to prophecy, when you look at who is the second beast, there's a second beast that rises up from the earth, not from the waters like Rome did. This one rises up from the earth, and it has horns like a lamb and speaks as a dragon. The only kingdom on earth that can fit all the prophecies of that is America, because it came up after Rome and in the timeline, and it rose up out of the earth, which represents a desolate area because waters represent many peoples. So the opposite would mean the opposite. So what is the only nation that rose up after, in the 1700s, that came up out of a desolate area that had horns like a lamb, which represents a Christ-like spirit, lamb-like. Christ is the lamb. This nation all talked about one nation under God, it's had this facade of being this Christian nation, but it speaks like a dragon. How does a nation speak? Through its laws. So further and further down time, it is going to keep on speaking like a dragon. Who else is the dragon besides Satan? Is Rome. It talks about the woman standing on the moon. She's clothed with the sun, and she's pregnant, about to give birth. This represents the church, the pure church, but it also represents the birth of Christ, because it says that dragon was waiting to devour the child when it is born. And when you read all the surrounding text, it's talking about Christ, how it says like he'll rule the nations with an rod of iron and all these things. So that dragon represented Rome. So we know that a dragon represents Satan, but it also represents Rome. All right. So if that's the first time hearing it, mind blown, check this stuff out. America is the second beast that makes all to worship. It creates a one world government, a one world religion about worship of the beast, which is Rome. The second beast is a false prophet pointing all to worship the first beast. And so when you see Trump and he's there with the Pope, he's no different than any of the others. I know people, even in my family, there's people that literally think that Trump is the savior. He's the Messiah. He's going to save this country. He's going to make it great again and all these things. And he's going to thwart the New World Order system. That's what they think. But he is just another wing of the same bird. Left wing, right wing. They're the same wings of the same bird. And he's no different than the others. We can pretend that, that's how this system works. They pendulum real far left till it ticks off the right, then they get their side. But we know that there's going to have to be a far right leader to bring in a new world order, to bring in a one world religion, because you have to be someone that's going to bring worship by force. That's only going to happen with the far right, right? The left, they don't care anything about religion or any of that, right? So we know. And according to Project 2025, they want the next Republican president, which they hoped would be Trump, and here it is, just like I knew it would be, that he would be like a Christian dictator, that he would be able to enforce Christian laws, or quote unquote Christian laws, because Christianity is never forced. So let's keep going. I just wanted to build the groundwork in case some of you had never heard this stuff before, because it won't make any sense. If you don't know that much, then you're going to be really lost. But I hope that some of that made sense. I hope it intrigued you if you have not heard that before. Revelation 13:12 says, and he exercises, this is the second beast, America. America exercises all the power of the first beast, Rome, before him, and cause the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. So we know that Rome fell long ago, right? General Berthier, he got the Pope, put him in exile, and the Pope died in exile, and that was the fall of Rome. But we know that Rome has recovered. Rome has healed from that deadly wound, right? We clearly see all the rulers of the world go and meet with the leader of Rome. So there has been a healing already. So America exercised all the power of Rome and causes the whole world to worship Rome, whose deadly wound was healed. Now we see Trump. He got the presidency, and for some reason, him and Elon are like best buds. And so Elon's up there just excited, and they're just teaming up together. Now, that's not a problem. That's okay. You can have friends with whoever you want to. But we want to look at Elon, because if, birds of a feather flock together, right? If Elon is wicked, then what does that say about your good bud, Trump, right? So we know in the last days, I believe we're living in the last days, 100%. And Jesus was giving all these prophecies. They said, what would be the sign of your coming? And he said, for many will come in my name, saying, I am Christ, and will deceive many. You know that every pope, I'm not saying Pope Francis, I'm saying every single pope that gets that position of authority, he proclaims himself to be the vicar of Christ. He's the replacement, the substitute of Christ on earth. And you have to go to him to ask for forgiveness for your sins and all these things. He is God on earth. That's what he proclaims. And it says, many will say, I'm the Christ, and deceive many. Do you know that the Catholic Church is the world's largest, quote unquote, Christian denomination? Deceiving many. And there have been many of these false Christs, many of these popes along the way. So this is a prophecy that's been fulfilled and continues to fulfill. For nation shall rise against nation. When you look at that word in the Greek, it's a word that means races. And, growing up, I'm not saying that racism has ever been dead or gone, but when I was growing up, it seemed like there wasn't this whole talk of racism. We had just gone through the whole, in the 80s, there was that guy, he got beat down by the cops, and there was all these helicopter cameras. He was a truck driver, and he was saying, can't we all just get along? That's where that whole saying came from. That was kind of like your last taste of media coverage of racism. Then we grew up on Fresh Prince of Bel-Air and Family Matters, and we were all getting along, and everybody was getting along. Races were getting along. But now suddenly, because the media has so much power over the masses, whatever the media says, people believe. And so they made you believe that Trump was a racist. He was the one that was in the Drake videos, and he was the one that everyone loved. He was at the wrestling matches. He had that reality show, You're Fired. Everybody loved him. He's in these rap videos. He was in Home Alone. He was a celebrity. Everybody loved Trump. And then like that, everybody said he was a racist. Where did that even come from? He's hanging out with Snoop Dogg and Drake. How can you even say he's a racist? But the media has that much power. And then they start tearing down statues and all these things. And I'm not ignorant. I know that these founding fathers and these wars and stuff, that they were slave owners and all that. I get that. What I'm saying is how the media can flip a switch, and now all of a sudden people want to take action and cause riots in the streets and throw bricks at and windows and everything. And all this stuff was funded by elitists like George Soros. People were going into the city and filming with their own phones. Like, I don't know why there's a pallet here full of bricks, but it just got dropped off, and there's one around the corner, and all of a sudden there's a bus dropping off a whole bunch of protesters right here. This stuff was all staged and rigged up. This was systematic. So we see that now there's these racial divisions going on, famines. This was in 2023, and you see all these different nations and how much famine is going on right now. Pestilences. We know that we just got through at least one of the waves or whatever. They're going to come out with something new. It's going to be I don't even know if I can say certain words, but monkeys, and it's kind of like chicken pox, but so I'm kind of coding these words, but there's always some new strain of something. There's always bird flu, swine flu, E. coli, all this stuff. And then we had COVID, and it shut the whole world down overnight. Everybody must mask up. This vaccine is pretty much mandated. And now they're having to pay people back who lost their jobs for refusing it because they know it wasn't safe and effective. Like I said, pestilences worldwide. Earthquakes. Jesus said there'll be earthquakes and natural disasters in diverse places. And we know when I say natural, I'm talking about quote unquote natural disasters that are happening worldwide. So all these things are being fulfilled. We got the many false Christs. We got the racial division. We got the famines. We got the pestilences. We got the earthquakes in diverse places. This map is showing you like just 2 years. All the yellow all the red is like that day. All the orange is a week ago, and the yellow is two years or something like that. So all those earthquakes happen in a short amount of time. The world is in chaos. This is what has to happen. The world has to reach a place of desperation before they will cry out for a Messiah. The stage is being set and primed and ready to receive the false Messiah. Satan impersonating Christ. We know that Satan is going to counterfeit the second coming of Christ, and he's going to deceive millions. And we know there's other things that are going on, spiritual phenomenons, paranormal things, like the military having these meetings about UFOs and extraterrestrials. And they're saying that we communicate with non-human intelligences, and we don't know what to call them, but they're real, they're here, and there's no denying it anymore. There's no covering it up. They're saying this is real, and we need to do something about it. We need to get it out there, whatever. When I believed this stuff growing up, the paranormal, I was looked at as like some kook, but now the military is saying these things are real. This is paranormal stuff. Supernatural, spiritual stuff is happening in our world today. The world is in chaos. It's primed and ready for Satan to step out and say, I'm your savior. I can fix all this stuff. Lying signs and wonders, fire from heaven, all this stuff. But first, before that happens, it's going to take a one world extreme right president to bring it in America. In America, there's going to have to be an extreme right wing president to enforce a form of worship in this state first that will reach the whole world, because we'll find out that this is for the betterment of humanity. It's going to help climate change, because you're going to rest one day a week. You're going to give Mother Earth a break. Elon, he's pushing all the green movement stuff. All this stuff is going to help climate change. This is how they're going to get everybody involved. So the world is in chaos, primed and ready for a Messiah. And a lot of people are thinking that Trump, he's the man. He's the man for the plan, because especially with this quote unquote assassination, this attempt, I question everything. If you don't realize that, go and watch one of the videos in the live. It's called Believe the Media, Trust the Media. And I'm going to show you 100% proof of event after event after event that were lies, that nothing added up, that all of it was fake. And people say, I don't trust the government, I don't believe the news. And yet when you say these things, they get offended and think, how dare you question this event? Well, I'm not questioning real life events. Yes, evil things happen in the world, but if it's on the news and it makes mainstream media, nationwide news, I question it. If there's, if somebody gets skimmed across the ear, drops down, comes up with a bloody ear, and the security guards aren't even making them stay down, I question things like that. Shortly after that, there was not even a scar, a scab, anything. But because of this attempt, maybe 2 attempts, they say, because of that, all the more people were like, he's a man. Someone's trying to stop him. This is where it's misinformation, disinformation. This is where they're playing both sides. They're creating a hero for you. He's the man that the evil people want to stop, so he must be voted in. And he won with flying colors. By the way, the person that they gave you as another option really wasn't going to win anyway. But I don't believe the votes even counted. This is what I see going on. This is straight up idolatry. If you don't see this, this is willful ignorance. This is blindness. If you can't see that this is idolatry, when you look to a man like this is like the kings in the Bible days when they're like, this is the voice of a God and not a man. Look at these people looking up in adoration and putting a bandage on their ear as they just gaze up at this man. This is the golden calf. This is the statue, the golden image. Bow before your image. And I want you to pay attention to his hand posture because that comes in. So this makes me think of communism all the way, because right now we know in America, a lot of Americans know that communism is trying to creep in, but they think it's just from the Democrats. They think, oh, don't let a Democrat win. Don't let Obama win because he's a communist. He's going to bring communism into this nation. Guess what? They're both the same bird. 2 wings of the same feather. Whether you're right wing or left wing, it's the same bird. So it doesn't matter if Trump's in. Abortion's always going to be legal. It doesn't matter if Trump's in. The agenda is still rolling out. Now, when I see communist China and they're holding up these big banners of their leader, and then I see what's happening in our country with Trump, not some Democrat, with Trump, I see the same thing. There's nothing different here. Can you see it? Can you see that there's nothing different about these 2 images? Now look at the hand posture. This is the communist fist. Obama did it. Lenin did it. In the top right corner, you see Lenin with that fist. You see it with the Black Lives Matter movement. They're going to get you. That's what I'm saying. Satan has a tackle box full of bait. If you're not into politics, he's going to get you with Black Lives Matter. If you're not into communism and you think it's the Democrat, he's going to get you with the Republican. It's a trick. It's all a mind game. This is sorcery. They have you all bewitched to where you think that this actually matters, which side you're on, and it's all divide and conquer. It's all division. All it is about, divide and conquer. We want to divide the races. We want to divide the genders. We want to divide the politics. We want to divide everything and get you all fighting amongst yourselves because that's the way they stay in power. When we are not on the same side and we can't agree on anything, they stay in power. And when we think our votes matter and, I got my man, Mr. Republican, I'm good now. Everything's good now. And people literally think that. I remember the interview with the lady when Obama won. She was on camera and said, I won't have to worry about paying my mortgage. I won't have to worry about trying to get gas in my car. She thought Obama was going to pay her mortgage and fill up her gas tank. That's how much people put their trust in political figures and men. It's sorcery. Now, this isn't just some one-off picture of Trump. Like I just showed you one. I looked up Trump raised fist, and it's tons of pictures, especially right now. And it's all because they think he's saying, oh yeah, resist. You know, they tried to shoot me, but they're not going to win and all this stuff. But this is the communist fist. Because what the plan is a one world communist government. So this was taken shortly. This picture was shortly after his being grazed by a bullet and had to wear a giant bandage on it. Now he doesn't even have a scab, a scar, anything. And when he was asked about it, he said, oh, I'm a fast healer. Yep. It was like a week later. A week? Dude, I can pick a zit and still have a scab on my face for longer than a week. This dude was skinned by a assault rifle bullet. And nothing is wrong with his ear. That's not even what I want to point out. I want to point out his hat because We know these people are all about numerology, symbology, the occult. These are the rulers of the world. I don't know what kind of words anymore get flagged and triggered, but these are the illuminated ones, if you get my drift. These are the Masons and all that stuff. And they love numerology. They love special dates with those numbers. They love putting those numbers in your entertainment. It's all numbers to them. Numerology, astrology, the occult world is full of this stuff. So check out his hat, because he was the 45th president and now he's the 47th president. I don't think it's a coincidence, because I don't even believe the votes matter. I think it was all set up. Coincidentally, it's just a coincidence. If you add the numbers 4 and 5 together, you get 9. If you add the numbers 4 and 7 together, you get 11. So he literally has 9/11 on his hat. I don't think that's just paying tribute to some thing that happened, some historical event. I believe it's much more sinister than that. This is order out of chaos. This is the phoenix rising from the ashes, because if you know what those numbers mean, the numbers 9, the numbers 11, and what they mean when you combine them together, it's the whole agenda. That's why 9/11 is so important to these people. That's why they want to give it to you every year. Never forget 9/11. It's all numerology. They want to put it in your face. They want to get you with their subliminal witchcraft every year. Never forget 9/11. And what do you do when you're in trouble? Call 911. They always got to put it in your face everywhere. Why? Because it's so deep. The number 9, the numerological number 9. Now, this is from ChatGPT. This is not like Wikipedia. ChatGPT is scouring the entire information of the world and giving you a juiced version of it. And this is what it said. It said number 9 represents completion, endings, and transformation. Wait a minute. Completion of what? Ending of what? Transformation? It is often seen as the last number before the cycle begins anew. Okay. Tying to themes of judgment, culmination, or the end of an era. What happened after 9/11? That's when all of our freedoms started really going away, right? Being stripped big time. The Patriot Act. They give it this friendly name. The Patriot Act. Oh, I'm a patriot. I want to get frisked and scanned and metal detected every time I go through the TSA. I want them to just fill me up. This was when your freedom started going away, being stripped. 9/11. Why? Because it was the beginning of a transformation. It was the end of one era and the beginning of a new era. It is also associated with spiritual enlightenment, ultraism, and universal consciousness. Universal consciousness. This is the age of Aquarius. This is one world religion. This is where all this is coming to. This is Luciferianism. The one world consciousness, universal consciousness, whether it's New Age or occult or whatever it is all about worship to Lucifer, Satan. However, in the context of the occult, 9 can symbolize the culmination of a ritual or the birthing of something new through destruction. Wait a minute. Wait. The beginning, a new era of universal consciousness that starts with destruction. Starts with destruction. What happened at 9/11? That was a ritual. That was an occult ritual that brought in the new era. This stuff is so deep, guys. Number 11. Considered a master number in numerology, 11 is linked to intuition, spiritual insight, and the gateway between the material and the spiritual world. This is why they love Halloween so much and push that too, because that's when they say the veil is the thinnest between the spiritual world and the physical world. 11. Okay, so you got the beginning of a new universal consciousness starting with destruction with number 9. And now you got the gateway between the material and the spiritual worlds. It also represents duality and balance, 2 pillars, good and evil, male and female. When you look at the Masonic apron, that's one of the things, you'll see those pillars with the globes on top. There's pillars on either side. That's what this is about. That's 11. Duality, that's the balance of good and evil, the yin and the yang. This stuff is worldwide. This is a worldwide deception. Duality is not good. The Bible says that we should not fellowship with darkness. Light cannot mingle with darkness. And it says in occult context, 11 often symbolizes a disruption of order. Okay, wait a minute, a disruption of order. So there was order, but now we're going to bring in some new era, representing the chaos that precedes the creation of something new. Precedes. Precedes means before. So if you got, not after, precedes. So there was chaos that precedes a new order of duality and a gateway between spiritual worlds. Aleister Crowley, a prominent occultist, emphasized the number 11 as being tied to magic, will, and the manipulation of reality. Oh my goodness, the manipulation of reality. Are we dealing with something today that is like a blending and we can't even tell if it's real or not, right? AI. Like we're literally virtual reality, metaverse, all these things, augmented reality. We're blending things, and it's never been this way. When I was growing up, it was VHS and Nintendo. We dreamed of having VR headsets, and now we're in the world where you just type something and it comes to life, and you can animate it, and you can put yourself in, you can immerse yourself in that world. I see videos and pictures. I understand. I mess with AI images a lot, so I can usually kind of spot it out. But if you didn't know, if you're not familiar with AI and what it looks like, it's impossible to tell the difference, especially now. It's getting worse and worse. Well, it's getting better and better, which is worse for us. But AI, as good as it is now, is the worst it's going to be. It only gets better every single second. It's evolving itself. It gets better every moment of every day. This is what it's saying. It's saying a manipulation of reality. Now notice it says magic with a K. That's Aleister Crowley's magic. I believe these people are sorcerers that have bewitched the world into thinking, oh, Trump, our man, he's going to save the nation. No, you've been tricked. You're spellbound by these magicians who are manipulating your reality. Another thing, not just AI, but your reality of what's real. 9/11, oh my goodness. Or that event, oh, we need to take the guns. Oh, he almost got shot. Manipulating your reality. Oh, my vote counts, right? That's not reality. Now, combine that 9 with that 11. Symbolic combinations of 9 and 11. When 9 and 11 are placed together, the numbers can signify a transition through what? Destruction. A transition through destruction. The ending of an old order and the opening of a gateway to a new paradigm. Are you guys hearing this, man? Are you guys hearing this? Something had to be destroyed, like towers, for this ritual, for these magicians that are deceiving the whole world. And it was the ending of an old order, which was like, man, we grew up in my time period in the 90s and everything. Whether you lived like a Christian or not, you believed in God. I believe in Jesus. I'm going to heaven. You could be drinking a beer, sleeping with the girl that you're not married to, and smoking cigarettes and weed and all that stuff. And I believe in Jesus. I'm going to heaven. And now the shift has happened to where if you're a Christian, you're a bigot and you're a hater and all these things. A shift has happened. The old order of things, the way God made it, the end of the old order, and an opening of a gateway to a new paradigm. The paradigm shift is happening. This mirrors the occult idea that chaos or destruction is necessary to create order or manifest a new reality. Are you kidding me? A new reality. Dude, this goes like way beyond. If I would have read this 10 years ago, I wouldn't have even thought of AI or known that kind of reality could exist. But a new reality. Chaos or destruction is necessary to create it. The pairing of 9-11 is also associated with the idea of an emergency or crisis, which is interesting that a crisis happened, symbolizing sudden upheaval meant to shift collective consciousness. Oh my goodness. So if there's an emergency and a crisis, and it's associated with the combining of 9 and 11, it's meant for a collective consciousness. Collective consciousness. One world religion. This is what the Bible literally talked about. We're seeing it happen today. It's crazy. Notice that those buildings are literally 11. Those buildings aren't just two buildings that were next to each other. They're called the Twin Towers. Now listen to this. Twin Pillars and 11. In esoteric traditions, the number 11 is often depicted as two pillars, like the Masonic imagery. Like I was talking about, those pillars and the Freemasons. These buildings, this was a plan from the beginning. This was never just, hey, wouldn't it be neat to put two buildings side by side and call them Twin Towers? This is all esoteric, ritualistic magic. In Masonic imagery of Boaz and Jachin at the entrance of Solomon's temple. So this goes all the way back to Solomon's temple because that's what the Masons believe. They believe that they're going to rebuild Solomon's temple. And they embrace Solomon because in esoteric writings, they say that Solomon had a ring with a hexagram on it that gave him the power to control demons. I mean, I know Solomon got into some crazy stuff, and I hope he repented, but I don't know about the truth behind that stuff. That's just what these esoteric writings say. That's what these sorcerers believe in. These pillars represent the gateway to higher wisdom and initiation into hidden knowledge. We should not be searching after hidden knowledge, guys. We can read the Bible and we can read prophecy and see what's going on, but when you start looking for hidden knowledge, that's when you start getting into trouble. Their destruction, symbolically or literally, what did you say? Their destruction? What destruction? Destruction of what? What's the context of the context here is the two pillars. The destruction of the two pillars, whether symbolically or literally, can signify the fall of the old and the rise of the new. Are you guys hearing this? The destruction of the two pillars, which represent 11, is mandatory in order to bring about a new order. This is crazy, man. The Phoenix cycle. We talked a little bit about the Phoenix. 9/11 is sometimes interpreted through the lens of the Phoenix archetype, which represents death and rebirth through what? Through fire. Wait a minute. Death and rebirth through fire. These towers came down with fire. Now we got one big building in its place, a rebirth. That's the Phoenix rising up out of the ashes. That one giant pillar is the new order. They even call it, oh, do they? I don't want fact check me, guys. I'm pretty sure that tower is called the One World Tower. Oh my goodness. Thank you, Lord, for discernment. Things are just still coming. Dots just continue to get connected. I had to just go ahead and go live because I'm never going to stop. This thing just keeps going. Death and rebirth through fire. So those twins came down through fire and were resurrected as a new world tower, one world tower. The destruction on a grand scale, symbolized by 9, is viewed as a sacrifice. Oh my God. As a sacrifice or ritual to bring forth a rebirth or new order, symbolized by 11 as a portal or threshold. Can you guys see this? Can you guys see that? It says that in order to bring about this new world order, in order to make that happen, they had to destroy, symbolically or literally, the twin pillars. And then there was by fire. And then there was going to be a phoenix coming up out of the ashes as a one world tower. And it was going to be a rebirth, or a new order. Dude, it's right there. A new order. This stuff is so deep, guys. Whoa. That's exactly what happened. 2 pillars that represent 11 fell because of fire and explosives. And this is order out of chaos. This is what these people believe. That's what these sorcerers believe. Order out of chaos. Because when you bring people to their lowest and they're in panic and they're in fear and they don't know where their next meal is going to come from, they can't trust their neighbor. That's how you get order. Quote unquote order. The kind of order that they want. This is how you make it happen. And the phoenix out of the ashes. So it continues. Dualities in 9/11. The number 9 and 11 can be seen as encompassing dualities, destruction and creation. That's exactly what destruction. The destruction of a former America that was based on freedom and all these things. You got to destroy that because you're going to create a new world order, a one world government. Chaos and order out of chaos. Physical and spiritual realms. You're putting the two together. Occultists who focus on numerology might view this combination as a potent symbol of manipulating reality, using ritual acts or symbolic events to bring about the systemic shift. If you can't see that this right here was a ritual that manipulated your reality, a ritual or an act, a symbolic act, a ritual act or symbolic events to bring about a systematic shift. Man. So the phrase order out of chaos it is most commonly attributed to the Latin phrase ordo ab chaos, which is the motto of the Scottish Rite of Freemasonry, signifying the idea of creating order from a state of disorder. The concept itself is deeply rooted in ancient creation myths across various cultures where a divine force brings order to a primordial chaos. The Latin phrase is ordo ab chaos. I just wanted to show you that this is based, where it comes from is from the Scottish Rite, and it's all about creating order out of disorder. The phrase phoenix rising from the ashes, it sounds so cool and pretty, it's like, hey, I went through something hard and I'm like a phoenix rising out of the ashes. It says a phoenix rising from the ashes is a metaphor that represents rebirth, renewal, and hope after experiencing difficult times. It sounds so lovely, right? Except that it's a cult. That's the same thing, the Ouroboros, the snake biting its tail, same thing. It comes from the Greek myth of the phoenix, a mythical bird that is reborn from the ashes of its predecessors. The phoenix is an immortal bird that is associated with the sun. Always comes back to worship of the sun. Sunday worship. The worship of the sun is everywhere. If you guys want to check out some of our past videos, this goes into androgyny, the dark origins of androgyny, who is the rain man, all this stuff. Baal was the sun. Everything points back to the sun. When we went to Washington, D.C., everything was the sun everywhere. That's what all this is about, sun worship. That's what the Lady Liberty is about, sun worship. That's Helios. So listen to this.
Never waste a good crisis. And when it comes to the economic crisis, don't waste it when it can have a very positive impact on climate change and energy security. And that's what we're trying to do.
Yeah, we're trying to do something positive with this crisis. Well, where'd the crisis come from? Was it a manufactured crisis? What is this even talking about? Here's the guy who originally said it.
You never want a serious crisis to go to waste. And what I mean by that, it's an opportunity to do things that you think you could not do before.
These people are so bold that they'll tell you to your face, we're going to take that chaos and we're going to create something big out of it. We're going to create something new out of it. Something that you could never dream could happen. Imagine being a human being and thinking that you could create a one world enslavement. That sounds pretty big. But thanks to manufactured chaos, we can create order out of chaos. Man. So I thought this was really interesting. Elon, my boy Elon, he said, I'm dark MAGA. Elon Musk speaks at Trump rally. I'm not just MAGA, I'm dark MAGA. What is MAGA? Just for anybody that might not know, Make America Great Again. Man, I don't think there's coincidences anywhere. The whole thing, these people are sitting around in a smoke-filled room like, okay, how can we manipulate them? How can we get them to chant our witchcraft? How can we put these people under our spell? Let's come up with a MAGA. We got to use MAGA. We got to use 9/11. We got to use MAGA and make America great again. That's right. With Obama, he was saying, yes, we can. Yes, we can. And when you played the speeches backwards of the whole crowd saying, yes, we can, it was saying, thank you, Satan. Thank you, Satan. This is not coincidence. How can this stuff happen over and over and over? How can it always be dark and evil? How come Obama's speech didn't say, give to the poor backwards? It never does. It's always Satan. It's always MAGA. It's always Phoenix from the ashes. It's always 9/11, all these occult things, right? What is the word MAGA? What is the word MAGA? A witch. Look at this. This is from Cambridge English Italian Dictionary. Witch. It's a noun. Another word for witch is right there. Circled. MAGA. It's not just there. The Sanskrit dictionary. MAGA. A priest of the what? First it says it's a magician. Don't think this is like, illusionist. Magician is a sorcerer. It's a witch. It's a warlock. And the second definition says a priest of the sun. Again, with the sun. Oh, and at the very bottom it says a priest of the sun. There it is twice. Now, if you simply just go to Google and use the translator. In Italian, MAGA means sorceress. In Latin, MAGA means witch. In Polish, MAGA means magician. And I didn't even try anymore. I mean, there's others, I'm sure. But it's a sorcerer, it's a sorceress, witch, magician, MAGA. Is it a coincidence that is Trump's slogan, MAGA, and that Elon comes out here and says, I'm not just MAGA, I'm dark MAGA. I'm a dark witch, a black magician, is what he's saying. Revelation 18:23 says, and the light of a candle shall shine no more at all in thee, and the voice of the bridegroom and of the bride shall be heard no more at all in thee. This is a strong warning. Like, we're going to reach a place where we're so entrenched in witchcraft and the illusion of this politics and all this stuff under their spell that if we don't wake up and come out of Babylon, we're not even going to be ready for Christ's return. Our candle will not shine. And it says, for thy merchants were the great men of the earth, for by thy sorceries were all nations deceived. So we know that there's coming a time where the whole world is going to be deceived by sorcery. And we just saw this MAGA sorceress. We just saw what 9/11 was all about, sorcery and ritual magic and all this stuff. And who's going to do it? Who's going to be the rulers and the great men of the earth? The merchants. Who are the merchants? They're the rich men of the world. And do you know who the richest man in the world is? Elon Musk. Can you imagine even having that title? I'm the richest man on earth. On earth. Not in America. Not in a certain state. Money is power. If he is the richest man on earth, there's nothing he can't have. There's nothing he can't do. He could go up to any person and say, you're going to do this for me. And if he says, no way, well, I'll just hire someone to assassinate you. You are like a god on earth. Elon Musk, the richest man in the world, is teamed up with Trump. But does that necessarily mean he's a bad guy? Just because he's rich, I don't know. But it says the merchants were the great men of the world, and they're the ones that are doing this sorcery. The sorcerers. So here, check this out. Did you know that we're in the year of the dragon? According to the Chinese astrology, basically, it says the year of the dragon is 2024. We're in the year of the dragon. And it began on February 10th, 2024. So, okay, well, it's only 2024, right? Well, you see down at the bottom, it says Dragon 2024. Well, what are we fixing to enter into? The year of the snake? Are you kidding me? So we went from the year of the dragon, and now we're entering into the year of the snake. You cannot make this stuff up, man. I believe we're in the last days. I believe Jesus is coming soon. I believe 2025 is significant. When they're talking about Project 2025 and they want the Republican leader to have dictatorship and he can enforce any kind of religious laws, that's a red flag. And we just entered from the dragon to the snake. And Revelation 12:9 says, and the great dragon was cast out. That old serpent. Who is this dragon and serpent? Called the devil and Satan, which deceives the whole world. Again, the deception of the whole world. He was cast out into the earth and his angels were cast out with him. Satan is here. Satan ain't down in some fiery pit underneath our feet. He's roaming around on earth. He's flying around in the skies looking like alien visitors. Chaos is about to ensue. And you're going to see that more and more as we talk about this, because you have to bring the nation to their knees so that they're ready to embrace a cosmic savior, an antichrist who's going to promise peace and safety. I forgot to put that verse in these slides, but when they shall say peace and safety, sudden destruction comes upon them like travails upon a woman. These are signs of the times. When the first chaos, pestilences, false Christ, natural disasters, all these things. Then when they say peace and safety, that's coming up. That is coming. That's the next step on the timeline. We're in chaos and it's going to get worse, but peace and safety is going to be promised. This is crazy, guys. Is it a coincidence that Trump's right-hand man, everything he does is symbolic of Satan? The dragon capsule? Come on, why didn't you call it like something else? Like, why did it have to be the dragon? I don't think this is just pulled out of a hat. Elon Musk, a lot of us know that he was wearing this thing for Halloween, this demonic, satanic outfit that has an inverted cross on the head of a Baphomet. And it said that Elon Musk was mocked for claiming Christianity is under attack while wearing a Baphomet armor with an upside down cross on his profile pic. Isn't it ironic that he's like defending Christianity while wearing an upside down cross and a Baphomet? This is like Antichrist all the way. Now, don't get me twisted on this presentation. I'm not pointing out any one man as an Antichrist. Antichrist is a spirit. Jesus said there was many Antichrists even now. Antichrist is a spirit, but we know that that spirit is going to create a one world religion and a one world government and a one world currency that can be shut off at any time because you won't be able to buy or sell. All of that is coming. One of his logos, SpaceX logo, is a goat. Okay, so you got the dragon, the goat, and then some fans spent hundreds of thousands of dollars building this golden calf, a golden goat. Move over, golden calf. Meet Elon Musk's golden goat. I didn't like remember the price, but it was hundreds of thousands of dollars spent on this abomination of Elon Musk's head on a goat riding a rocket that says Elon Goat. What kind of crazy world do we live in? And then he's got Falcon. SpaceX has the Falcon. Why a Falcon? Why a dragon? Why a goat? Why a falcon? Horus, the Egyptian god. Horus in ancient Egyptian religion, a god in the form of a falcon, Wait a minute. Horus is a falcon whose right eye was the sun or morning star, representing power and quintessence, and whose left eye was the moon or evening star, representing healing. Falcon cults, which were in evidence from late pre-dynastic times, were widespread in Egypt. Do you know that the Eye of Horus is the symbol of the New World Order? And he's using a falcon. How is this a coincidence, guys? How can it be always evil? Coincidentally. Always coincidentally evil. It's not. This is prophecy, guys. This is not conspiracy theory. This is Bible prophecy. Anyone who's watching this, if you believe the Bible, put those Bible lenses on and realize what is happening all around us right now. This is not coincidence. There's no man coming to save the nation. This is all part of the plan, part of Satan's plan. And we know Jesus is coming soon, and I'm excited about that. It is scary. There's some scary things, but I'm excited about Jesus coming in my lifetime. Elon Musk, right after Trump won and everything, and he was hanging out with him, he posted a picture of himself and Trump with the caption, Novus Ordo Seclorum. That is New World Order in Latin. Novus means new, Ordo means order, and secular, worldly, world. New World Order. Why did he post that? Why are you the richest man in the world that has a dragon and a goat and wears a satanic outfit, and you name your thing Falcon based on Horus, and at Met Gala 2018 you're wearing a jacket that says Novus Ordo Seclorum on the back? It's all just coincidence, guys. He's a good guy. He's a good guy. He's on Trump's side. I'm not saying either one of them are good. I'm saying we got to stop being blinded by the wolves in sheep's clothing. Are we going to fall for this? Are we going to literally just... I feel like at this point, we're just doing it to ourselves. Like, oh, yeah. All right, so the Communist Handbook, because New World Order is worldwide communism. And Karl Marx and Frederick Engels made this communist manifesto, and they had 10 points. They said the only way you can get communism to happen is if you fulfill these 10 points. First, abolition of private property. So you can't own... Look, I'm buying a house, but it's never going to be mine. Every year I'm going to have to pay property tax. Every year. It's never going to be mine. So that's already been taken. So if there's ever a time where I lose a job or something, even if I paid the last penny on this house and lost my job, it could get taken away from me. It's not mine. It's like rent forever. You'll own nothing and like it. That's what they say. Heavy progressive or graduated income tax. So take more money from people who have higher income. Take more. Okay, so they're going to take more money from you. If you make more money, they're going to take more money from you. That's happening. Abolish rights of inheritance. Wow. State acquires citizens' property upon their death. Families no longer get heirlooms or inheritance. I honestly, I don't know too much about this, but I have heard that if you don't have a will, that's what happens. If you don't write a will specifying, and I haven't wrote a will, not that I got anything to give away, but it's like, who's sitting around writing a will? And if you haven't, then your family's probably not going to get your stuff. Number 4, confiscate property owned by immigrants and rebels. These citizens no longer have rights to their property. Establish a national bank. Ooh, that's a big one. We're about to talk about that. Establish a national bank. So you're talking about one world currency. Nationally controlled communications and transport. Are you kidding me? Are our communications nationally controlled? Yes. Dude, Google and Facebook and YouTube can censor anything. I search stuff. Dude, when I used to go down the conspiracy theory rabbit hole in 2012 and look up all the cool stuff on YouTube and Google. You try to look up that stuff now and all you're going to get is debunked videos. I mean, it's crazy. Our communication and transport is nationally controlled. You can't even leave the country without a passport. You can't enter into certain areas. You can't fly in certain airspaces. Yes, our transport is controlled by the national. I mean, there's certain places you can't go. Government ownership of means of production, factories, land, and natural resources. So I guess if you're a farmer, actually, you know what? I saw this. I saw in 2020, around the beginning of the whole pandemic thing, in 2020, I saw people on camera, farmers, literally opening up envelopes, and it was a letter from the government that said, "We will buy your farm from you, and if you don't take our offer, we're going to burn down your crop." That was for real. Dude, are you kidding me? And this says government ownership of the means of production. Industrial and agricultural armies. Everyone is liable to work. I got to be honest, I don't really understand that one. Redistribute population. Eliminate sovereignty of state and town by redistributing people. So they don't want you to have any kind of authority in your own state. Like, hey, we're Texas, we're gonna do our own thing. They don't want that. And that's in the process of happening. Free and public education. Yeah. I went to public schools growing up. I'm so glad I'm not going to public school now because of what they teach now. But I was homeschooled during middle school and I missed the whole evolution stuff, brainwashing. But yeah, free public education. I wonder why. So you can send the parents off to work because they're in a system where they have to pay for their house and all these things. They can't even make bills because groceries are so high. Both parents have to work and get on the rat race wheel. And so we're going to you can't homeschool your kids. We ain't got time for that. Put them in the public school system. That's where they learn evolution and that there's 86 genders and that you can change your gender and all these things. Yeah, that's where we want the state to raise your kids. That's what they want. That's part of this Communist Manifesto. Elon Musk said this. Look at this website, World Governments Summit. World Government Summit. Elon Musk on why the world needs a universal basic income. So the world needs a universal basic income. Why? Let's listen.
There will be fewer and fewer jobs that a robot cannot do better. What to do about mass unemployment? This is going to be a massive social challenge. And I think ultimately we will have to have some kind of universal basic income. I don't think we're going to have a choice.
Universal basic income.
Universal basic income. I think it's going to be necessary.
So it means that unemployed people will be paid across the globe.
Yeah.
Because there is no job, machine, robot is taking over.
These are not things that I think that I wish would happen. These are simply things that I think probably will happen. If my assessment is correct and they probably will happen, then we need to say, what are we going to do about it? And I think some kind of a universal basic income is going to be necessary. The output of goods and services will be extremely high. So with automation, there will come abundance. Almost everything will get very cheap. I think we'll just end up doing a universal basic income. It's going to be necessary. The harder challenge, much harder challenge, is how do people then have meaning? Like a lot of people, they derive their meaning from their employment. So if you're not needed, if there's not a need for your labor, what's the meaning? Do you have meaning? Do you feel useless? That's a much harder problem to deal with.
He thinks it's a much harder problem to deal with, that people aren't going to have meaning because they don't have jobs. That's kind of a side issue, but if you missed kind of what he was saying there, he's saying because of AI evolving rapidly, faster than anything, that robots are going to take over jobs. That might sound far-fetched to you, but if you got self-driving cars, you don't need no more Ubers, no more Uber Eats, no more Uber drivers, no more valet, no more taxis. We already are our own cashier at the grocery store and at Walmart. Remember when they used to have aisles and there's a cashier, everyone, you had to stand in line? No, now it's like two people watching 20 cash registers. If you are an artist, AI is getting better and better at art every day. Nobody needs to pay some artist on Fiverr anymore. You just pay $20 a month for ChatGPT and you can have any art you want. Musicians, you lost your job. I can make any song I want using Suno. And right now is the worst it's ever going to be. It's getting better and better every day. What else is it? Restaurant employees are being replaced by robots, by AI. You go through a drive-through and AI is asking for your order. It knows what you're saying. Think about it. When you ask Siri, hey Siri, blah, 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 blah. This thing knows what you're talking about. So if you go to the drive-through and you say, I want a potato soft taco and a bean burrito, it knows what you're saying. They don't need a person doing the drive-through anymore. Then you go in, okay, jobs are getting taken away. So Elon Musk is saying because jobs are getting taken by AI, there's going to be a problem. Many people, thousands, if not millions of people are going to lose their jobs overnight. That's going to cause really chaotic effects. When people can't eat 1 day, 2 day, 3 day, a week, chaos. And so he's saying we have to do something. We have to, and he's at the World Government Summit. He's not a politician. He's not a president. He's not a king. The merchants will be the great men of the world. They will deceive the world by sorcery. Elon has as much power as Trump. If you believe that Trump has any kind of power at all, no, he's a puppet. He's a puppet for the ones that are in control, for Satan. And so Elon's got as much power as he does. And he's saying, you know what? Elon can change the whole world. He can say, look, everybody needs to have a universal basic income. Worldwide communism. That's exactly what it is.
You left your job with Google in part because you say you want to focus solely on your concerns about AI. You've spoken out saying that AI could manipulate or possibly figure out a way to kill humans. How could it kill humans?
Well, eventually, if it gets to be much smarter than us, it'll be very good at manipulation because it will have learned that from us.
So what do we do? Do we just need to pull the plug on it right now? Do we need to put in far more restrictions and backstops on this? How do we solve this problem?
I'm not an expert on how to do regulation. I'm just a scientist who suddenly realized that these things are getting smarter than us. And I want to sort of blow the whistle and say we should worry seriously about how we stop these things getting control over us. And it's going to be very hard. And I don't have the solutions. I wish I did. I don't think we can stop the progress. I didn't sign the petition saying we should stop working on AI because if people in America stopped, people in China wouldn't.
There have been some whistleblowers who have been warning about the dangers of AI over the past few years. One of them, Timnit Gebru, was forced out of Google for voicing his concerns. Looking back on it, do you wish that you had stood behind these whistleblowers more?
I think it's easier to voice concerns if you leave the company first. Their concerns aren't as existentially serious as the idea of these things getting more intelligent than us and taking over.
Steve Wozniak, one of the co-founders of Apple, is also speaking out about the dangers he fears will come from AI. Take a listen.
AI is another more powerful tool, and it's going to be used by those people, for basically really evil purposes. And I hate to see technology being used that way. It shouldn't be, and probably some types of regulation are needed.
But for the existential threat of AI taking over, we're all in the same boat. It's bad for all of us. And so we might be able to get China and the US to agree on things like that. It's like nuclear weapons. If there's a nuclear war, we all lose. And it's the same if these things take over. So since we're all in the same boat, we should be able to get agreement between China and the US on things like that.
Props to this guy because he quit. When he started having a moral conscience about what was going to happen with AI, he quit. He's blowing the whistle. He's like, this stuff's dangerous and it's going to destroy humanity. Soon. We're not talking about, oh yeah, in the year 5000. This isn't even 10 years away. It's going to take away jobs. It's going to maybe think, humans are really the problem on this earth. We should just annihilate them. That's the storyline of Terminator. Like Skynet realized it became self-aware and it realized, oh, humans are the pest of the earth, so I'm going to just press the button and launch all the nukes and destroy humanity. Now, I don't know if it's going to be like that. I think it's going to be way different. I don't think we're going to have Terminators going in the street killing people, maybe at least on some small scale, but I believe it's just going to cripple our economy to where you can't eat. And that's what's going to happen. And then the false Messiah will come. Satan will come in as Christ and deceive millions. And he's going to come as this angel of light, as Christ, and he's going to be doing lying signs and wonders, bringing fire down from heaven, miracles. It says that these miracle working demons is what the Revelation says. Miracle working demons. These demons, whether they come in the form of aliens or cosmic Christ or whatever it is, they're going to get rid of pandemics. They're going to fix climate change. They're going to heal people of diseases that we know are curable, but there's being hidden. The cures are being hidden. They're going to be able to fix cancer and all. Oh, I hope that didn't flag me. You're not allowed to say that word anymore. They're going to cure the things of earth. These lying deceivers, these miracle working demons, lying wonders, signs and lying wonders. And this is what the stage is being set up for. I see somebody just unsubscribe. All right. I'm not sure why, but thanks for announcing it. This is where we're going. New World Order, Bible prophecy. This is coming true. If you don't like Bible prophecy, please unsubscribe, because that's what this channel is about, bringing the truth. Check out this video.
AI and automation have arrived, and they're going to transform society forever. From cashiers to CEOs, more jobs are getting replaced by the machines every day. So what are the various predictions for how bad the damage is really going to be? Well, there's lots of different estimates, but even the most conservative still mean that millions of jobs will get replaced. In the short term, it isn't looking good. It's generally agreed that tens of millions of jobs will be lost over the next decade to AI. We're at a crossroads right now. There's two main ways this can all play out. The first option could just be a complete disaster. Society continues on, no checks are in place, big tech AI companies get out of control, ethics departments are continually stripped, and lacking government regulation means we enter into a technocracy. Companies will pretend it's business as usual, but over time they'll cut out more and more of their employees, leaving the consequences for someone to deal with later on. If using AI makes a company 20% more productive, then they can fire 20% of their employees and maintain the same output. People won't even know it's AI either. They'll just get fired for, quote, underperforming instead. On this path, we'll see an outcry of big changes like self-driving trucks, but the small changes that make the difference when you put them together will go unnoticed. The media will blame the same tired old issues while more people get pushed out of the system every day. In this future, the profits from AI won't go to the people who need them. Corrupt governments will be paralyzed by lobbyists, making sure the corporations are keeping their profits in check. Meanwhile, they'll go bankrupt trying to deal with millions of newly unemployed people. Without those jobs, people simply won't have enough money to keep the economy going. Crime will skyrocket as people go into desperation. Taxes will barely be paid. Police officers stripped away from the streets. And anarchy and lawlessness takes over society. The relative value of human labor plummets, meaning almost everybody shut out of the economy without anything to keep themselves afloat, apart from stealing from one another, fending for themselves, and selling whatever they can to survive, which is an absolute recipe for chaos. People won't have anything to gain, so they won't have anything to lose. They'll vote for whoever says they'll make things better, the people offering the simplest solutions. It means a rise in extremism that will lead to unrest and eventually revolutions and even dictatorship and fascism. Or if it swings the other way around, communism. Now it might seem like that's far away, but all it takes is enough hungry people to upend the entire system. Suddenly the reality, the social norms that we live in today, just won't be able to exist. Key government services like policing, ambulances, law and order will just be abstract concepts that have no relevancy, and eventually the economic scales will tip back the other way just like they always have. But it would take decades, and it's impossible to say how many casualties there will be along the way.
Dude, this guy nailed it. This guy's channel is called Moon, just simply Moon. He's got amazing documentaries, and what he said makes complete sense. When AI takes all these jobs, man, the economy is going to plummet. And when you got hungry, starving people, there's going to be riots, chaos. People are going to vote for whoever makes the best promises. It can be Satan himself. People will bow the knee to Satan himself when the world is crippled and brought to this place of desperation. I don't know why any Bible-believing Christian can't see that this is what's going to happen. How they really believe that one man put in office is going to fix all of this and is going to change the agendas of Satan, who's in control. The Bible says he's the God of this world. I'm giving you this message not to put fear in you, not to bash any person, not to, break your heart or crush your dreams or whatever. This is just to show you that Bible is real. Prophecy is true. I believe Jesus is coming in our lifetime. Somebody in the chat said they believe that there's coming in 10 years. I don't know if we got 10 years. This AI thing is evolving every day, and I can't do it justice in this video to show you how crazy this is. I would never want to sponsor or promote Shane Dawson on this channel, but he just made a video that dropped a day ago, and it's got 600,000 views, and it's about AI, and it's full of foul language and everything. But if you can get past that and see what the information he's showing you is terrifying, because it's really what's happening while we're all distracted and we're eating our McDonald's and we're playing our video games and we're binge watching our favorite shows on Netflix. This stuff is happening and it's real. And we need to get right with Christ. We need to be ready. We don't need to be getting ready. We need to be ready. It says, when all these things happen, fear not. Lift up your heads, because the end is near, that Christ is coming soon. I believe that with all my heart, and I want to be ready. I'm not perfect. I'm trying to get there. I'm trying to bring as many people with me as possible. I want us to all be there. I want us to all be on the same page and surrendering our life to Christ daily, picking up our cross daily, and denying the lust of the flesh, whatever that is, whether it's, adultery things, or whether it's addictions to games or substances, whatever it is. Surrender those things to God, and he will take them out of your life. He's waiting on us. It's all about surrender. I was an addict. I was an alcoholic and a weed head, and I was doing all the things that I shouldn't have done. And New Year's 2013, I surrendered something that I couldn't give up on my own. I tried and tried and tried and failed every time. And when I surrendered, Jesus set me free overnight, supernaturally. He's waiting on us to give him permission to take it out of our lives. He's not a thief. He's not bashing in doors. He's knocking on the door of your heart, and he's waiting on you to hand it over and say, take it. I don't want it anymore. I pray that someone here makes that decision, that they wake up and say, wait a minute, this stuff makes sense. Nothing changes no matter who's in office. I believe this is bigger than the president. I believe this is what the Bible says, that Satan's the God of this world and that prophecy is really happening. If that's you, please drop a comment. Tell me that this was eye-opening and encouraging in some way, because we need to hear that too. These types of messages are not easy to give. We need some feedback. And so if you like this video, click a thumbs up. It really helps it get into the algorithm. If you're new to this channel, click subscribe, because we're going to come out with new videos like this all the time. They're not always going to be about politics, but it's always going to be related somehow to the Bible or to your spiritual walk, the pagan origins of things that we participate in all the time. We really appreciate your love and support. If you want to support this channel, you can do so through Cashapp, through Venmo, through Zelle. You can go to our website, which is CandidTruthOrg. There's a donate button there to send some donations. Through PayPal, you can even do monthly that way. If you like cool t-shirts, we have t-shirts. If you go to CandidTruthOrg, just click on the button that says shop or merch or something like that. Check out our shirts. We get like $5 commission on every shirt that we sell, that we designed. And they're all about scripture or the truth, or it's cool to use your brain, because the world doesn't want you to think. Satan doesn't want you to use your brain. He wants you to be deceived. And so here at Candid Truth, we say it's cool to use your brain. We're going to talk about the truth, and we're going to get candid with it. I love you guys. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you guys for supporting this channel, and we'll see you next time on Candid Truth.